Yoga Vasishtha Sara, Chapter 1, Part number 3, Verse number 11. Following the customary method of teaching is only for preserving the tradition. Pure awareness results solely from the clarity of the disciples' understanding. So the former part of this verse speaks about teachings which are then mostly at the level of the intellect, at the level of thoughts. And this kind of traditional learning of disciplines and crafts, usually they lead to dogmas, to imitation, and to many do's and don'ts. The latter part of this verse, speaking about pure awareness, is rather related to a transmission of the flame of creativity, transmission of love right in the moment as a living experience. I could give an equivalent example. You can learn a craft. For example, you can learn how to paint, or to make a ceramics, or to make batik. There are many techniques you can learn in this way, but mostly this then will lead to an imitation of how others have been doing it in the past. There is another step needed after we learn the craft, and that step is in order for it to become an art. To become an art, we need to have creativity, inspiration, and that would be to be in the presence, in the now. And this is how we can evolve from a craft to an art. And it goes the same way with traditions. A spiritual tradition, in general, is anchored in texts, in repetitions, in techniques that one can learn. But then there is a moment that we have to go beyond those techniques, if I may call them such, so that it becomes a living experience. And by the way, the verse does not say that customary methods of teachings are wrong, that traditions are wrong. It's fine to have a tradition. And we all have some tradition, maybe Christian, Muslim, Jewish, Buddhist, Hindu, it doesn't matter. You can have those traditions and they're very valuable. It only suggests that there is a level beyond whatever tradition you follow, so that it becomes a living experience, something steeped in pure awareness, in reality. And that is what this verse is all about. So for a moment, I suggest you ponder about what it is that is aware of your thoughts. That which is aware of your thought, is it also a thought which would be related to traditions and repetitions and intellect? Or is that which is aware of a thought something else than a thought? Just ponder about that for a moment. Verse number 12. The Lord cannot be seen with the help of sacred texts or through the Guru. the self is seen by the self alone, with pure consciousness. Now this is very important. The texts or the guidance you receive from a teacher, whether a guru or a roshi or an imam or a priest or you name it, this kind of guidance is like turning mirrors towards what we truly are. And that can be useful. They can provide us with pointers to ourselves, to consciousness, to what we truly are. But the seeing itself can only be done by yourself, not even by your own body-mind, by your true self. In the same way, nobody can teach you how to eat. It is something you have to experience. No one can teach you how to go to the bathroom. That's your own experience. No one can teach you how to listen to music. That's your own experience. And in the same way, no one can teach you how to taste consciousness, how to be consciousness. It's something you, the viewer here, you have to do by yourself. Others, books and teachers, they can provide you with pointers. But you are the one who has to do the seeing. So here again, for example, in the next few moments, notice your breath and see how your breath happens within the presence of awareness in what you are. And see also how no one else can make you see or feel that experience except you. Verse number 13. All the arts acquired by man are lost by lack of practice, but this art of wisdom grows steadily once it rises. Take, for example, I used to play the guitar and I no longer play. For many years I haven't played the guitar, and it's a craft that I have slowly unlearned. You lose that. If I would take the guitar now, I would need to practice again for quite a long time to reacquire the skills I had learned when I was younger. Or take another example, when you study for exams at the university. Notice how quickly you forget the things you have studied for. Notice how even after a few weeks you no longer remember what you have been learning for the exam. You lose that. Or learning a language. If you learn a language and you don't practice it for many years, you end up losing that as well. It may come back quicker than if you never learned it, but you still no longer have the skill to just jump in and speak that language again. As to this practice of being aware, not so sure. What they say here in this verse is that this art of wisdom grows steadily once it rises. Well, if you have just had a glimpse of awareness during one of these meditations, or during a walk in nature, or during any other place or occasion, If you just had a glimpse of it, it usually does not mean that it will start growing and growing and that you end up being more and more moments in this kind of sense of being one with the universe. It's not usually our experience. However, there is a point in time where we end up getting more and more often to that place that we are. And that is because, on the one hand, we realize how unhappy we are if we believe that we are this body-mind. And when we return to being a body-mind, unhappiness comes back, and this provides us with a reminder: you went again the wrong way. You should go back to the source. Go back to turning the light, to the light that you are. And secondly, the taste of peace and happiness that comes during these moments of realization is another attraction that makes you return to those moments. And in this way we could say, yes, these kind of moments tend to become more frequent after time. There is, however, this to be said as well. As long as we take ourselves to be this thinking mind, body-mind, there is always a voice in here. And this voice is always unhappy and always complaining that he or she has not yet gotten it, that he or she has lost it again, that he or she still didn't get to the here and now. This complaining voice plays in us, but while it's playing in us, it plays in us while we still are this light of awareness. But as long as we give credence to this voice, this complaining voice, we entertain that idea again and again, and it then extends this habit of thinking we are not yet there. You're not yet in this happiness, in this bliss. So, in the next few moments, feel how this inner voice in you tells you frequently how you are not yet it, and then shift your attention to that in which this voice resonates. Verse number 14. Just as an ornament worn round the neck is considered lost through forgetfulness and is gained when the mistake is realized, so also the self is attained when the delusion about the limited self is removed. I really love this metaphor of this ornament around the neck, and you look for it everywhere, in all the corners, here, there, and you never can find it because you're wearing it. It is that close. And what you truly are is also that close. So close that you don't see it and that you look for it everywhere else except here, except now. In Zen we chant one verse that says, "We are like a man who in the midst of water cries in thirst so imploringly." You're a man in it's a lake, it's not the sea, and you are thirsty and you cry out so imploringly, "I want water, I want water," and yet you're bathing in a lake, you're swimming in a lake. Another example is this man going from farm to farm on a horse asking, "Did you ever see my horse? I'm looking for my horse. My horse is lost." And he's sitting on the horse. So, you viewer, I invite you to turn your attention to the perceiver and taste it now, closer than close, and just be the space of awareness. Verse number 15. He is indeed an unfortunate person who, not knowing his own self, takes pleasure in sense objects, like one who realizes too late that the food eaten by him was poisonous. Here we're getting a word of caution. Don't continue to look for happiness where it is not to be found, that is in outside objects. Because if you do so, you invest all your energy, your whole life long, searching for something that cannot be found out there. Just like a person who discovers too late that the food he was eating was poisoned. Indeed, we all believe that happiness lies in objects. A bit like those little children on the beach, you have these little windmills, that plastic with all the colors, and they glitter in the light of the sun. And the child thinks, "Oh, it looks beautiful," and thinks that the happiness lies over there. And this is how we act in our life. We believe happiness will lie in a new car or in a 3-star restaurant. If you eat a meal there, that would provide you happiness. Or in a holiday that you take in Italy or in Greece. Or in some activity that you do, a sport activity, hiking or something like that. Or that happiness will lie in this ultimate friendship that you are looking for, or in a love affair. Other people think it lies in whiskey, a good bottle of whiskey. And other people think the happiness will come when they have €1 million in the bank. Now, I'm not saying that all these activities are wrong. They do provide temporary happiness. The problem is happiness doesn't lie in them, they lie in you. So if you search for happiness in them, that's where it's going wrong. I'm only saying that you shouldn't invest all your energy in them. It's fun to do sports. It's fun to buy something nice. It's fun to go on a vacation. I don't say you shouldn't do these things. I just say don't think happiness comes from it. Better to invest in the source of happiness, which is in this jewel that you're wearing right here and now. I hope you enjoyed this recording, and till the next time we meet, have a wonderful day.